Okay, welcome to a multi-part series on Maya Essentials. We're going to start with just some basic interface content and then go on from there into some modeling, rigging, animation, lighting, textures, primarily focused on the basics for sort of a year one learner, as it were. I'm just going to go ahead. I've opened up and we're going to be using Autodesk Maya 2024. Right now it seems to be pretty stable. I'm using Windows 11 operating system, decently powered machine, laptop. So I'm going to go ahead and click new here. And we've got our basic interface. So let's just kind of go over the Maya interface really quickly. Outliner over here, which may or may not be expanded or open on your computer, is going to show everything in the scene. It is the outline of the scene. So if I add things into the scene, um, they will show up out here or not, depending on if I have them hidden or not. And that will all show up here in the outliner. By default, if you opened up Maya, you probably have poly modeling. This is called the shelf up here. And above that are your basic menus. One of the first things that happens with new students or new people working with Maya is they will inadvertently do something like close a menu, move it. They're all very pliable, um, and you can kind of pull them apart. There are different ways to get these things back. If you make the mistake of pulling out one of these things and accidentally closing it or whatever it is you do. Under Windows, you have UI elements, and you can see the status line, the shelf, um, the time slider, range slider. All of these things are there, and then I believe it's either um, M or Control M will actually get rid of a menu. And another thing sometimes that people will do is they'll hit Control Spacebar, and that freaks them out because all of your interface is gone. Control Spacebar goes into what they call expert mode. And the reason it even exists is that a lot of your Maya menu stuff that you get kind of addicted to or used to by dragging your mouse back and forth, most of it, if not all of it, is available with key commands. For example, I'm in expert mode, Control Spacebar right now, and if I hold the Spacebar down, I actually get, there's file, I can save scenes, do all those things. I can change view, shading, lighting. I can do all of my mesh operations, rigging, animation, special effects, and post production or lighting, etc. So a lot of that stuff can be done from here as well. In addition to that, if, for example, I wanted to just create something, I could shift right click and I've got access to that. So a lot of the menus are available without the interface. And in fact, using those key commands and menus in the middle of the screen are more efficient, generally speaking. I like to always kind of keep an eye on things like the channel box layer editor and whatnot. If I go over here to Windows and I go to UI elements and I say restore UI elements, that may or may not actually fix the location of the windows, which is typically saved in settings and preferences or wherever your files are saved. So you want to be careful about that. So again, you've got hide, show, and restore. Again, that would be if like some of these main elements went away. So if I've got UI elements and I take away the shelf, right? That's something that happens there. And I go to Windows settings or Windows UI elements and say restore UI elements. It's not necessarily going to come back. So I have to go here to UI elements and just turn it back on. Okay. Um, if I have a tool open, like the polygon cube, you'll notice that this is available right here. So last tool used. If I double click on that, I'm going to get tool settings. And it's not docked because I pulled it apart, but if you just roll your mouse over certain areas of the interface, it will try to dock it for you, right? So um, if we can get a hold of it correctly, although the interface itself may be a little dodgy. So let's go ahead and drag this down just a little bit, and we'll just go ahead and double click on this, go to tool settings, and you can see as I roll over the different elements, they'll show up there, right? So there's tool settings now docked on the side. Same thing over here. If I open up modeling toolkit and I want that to dock on the side. There it is. If I open up the attribute editor, I also want that to be in there, and same with channel box layer editor. So this is, you can sort of manually repair your interface that way. But just know that Windows and UI Elements is a place you may want to go to see if something's missing. And you can restore things that way as well. So let's go ahead and create something. Now the temptation might be to come up here and click on the box. And when you first open Maya, you will have interactive creation turned off, which means if you click on this, you're going to get a cube over there. If you look at your channel box layer editor, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and the scale is 1 by 1 by 1. Okay, if you click on Polycube, you're going to see a few extra things over here in the channel box layer editor, which is things like width and height and also subdivisions. But at the end of the day, it's just going to plop a little tiny little 1-unit cube down there. That might be your personal preference. My personal preference is what's called interactive creation, and that over here is, if I turn that on and I click on the cube, I can then sort of drag across the bottom and create a cube sort of in so rectangular prism with the proportions that I prefer. So again, this is my preference, and that is the way to do things. But to kind of wrap this video up, this is the general interface. When I want to create something, though, I will usually shift right click. It's faster. It's right here in my face, and I can go straight to cube, bang, bang, right? And I can do it again over here. I need something else. Now notice a different menu came up when I hit shift right click. That's because I currently have an active object selected, meaning it wants me to do something to it. But if I click away from it, now I can create a cylinder, right? And then click away, and now I can create another cube or a sphere in my scene, and so on and so forth. So if I have something selected, my shift right click menu is going to be different. Okay, if I don't have something selected, my shift right click menu will let me select. And as I said before, the outliner is going to outline or show all of these things. So where's my outliner? If I go to Windows, you'll notice that a lot of these things are right here. Outliner's right here. I'm going to take this over here, and notice with the window maximized, it's going to try real hard to do weird stuff with this. So once again, I'm going to kind of pull this over this way and then tuck it in right next to either tool settings if I can, right? And there you go, there's your outliner, and then there's tool settings, which may be, you may want to actually bring that up and tuck them together like this, which is how it's, I think that's the default there. So the outliner shows me P cube, P cylinder, and P sphere. And we're going to get into sort of whether or not we want to name them that, or if we want to do other things with them later, but that's it. In terms of spinning the view around, your Alt button is your best friend. I'm holding down Alt, as you can see over there. That's just Alt left click. Alt right click will dolly it in and out. You can also use the scroll to zoom in and out, or you can do Alt middle mouse button, which will pan. So Alt left is typically very commonly used. You want to orbit around the object, kind of check it out. Zooming in and out, you can scroll, or Alt middle mouse button, and you can pan back and forth, and that's how you're going to get to view things. If you zoom way out or you get stuck sort of in a weird spot, you can hit F and it will focus on the selected object. If nothing is selected, it will focus on all the objects in the scene. Again, that's hitting F. So yeah, so that's how we get around the interface. More to come in subsequent videos.